Rand Hindi. He recently tweeted about an experiment that he did. He followed anti-blueprint protocol for 2 months to see how unhealthy he could get. He ate over 200, 500 calories a day. He ordered food all the time, never cooked, drink alcohol multiple times a week, no workouts, no supplements, work from couch at home instead of proper desk. Eat late dinner, go to bed late, wake up early, 6 hours sleep, eating pizza bread. Okay, his results are Rand Hindi. His results are resting heart rate went from 44-51, heart rate variability down 25%, body weight up 7 lbs, which is something like 3 kilogram, body fat up 2%, testosterone crashed, CRP from 0.5 to 2.5, glycan age from 21 to 24, and pheno age went up by 4 years. But something peculiar happened in this 2 months experiment. His Danidam pace went down from 0.75. Now, he had a plausible explanation about it, but I don't want to spoil it just yet. I just want to point out that the exact opposite happened with you. You did everything right, and yet your Danidam pace went up. Tell me that story.
Guy you just described sounds a lot like myself in my early 20s. When I was in university, especially on the weeks where I hadn't have to study, I would follow a very similar protocol. Not the healthiest, to be exact. And the transition, yeah, amazing. I did my very best last year until August for around about 10 months. So starting late 2023 till August 2024 to age slower than Brian Johnson for less money. And I measured my duodenum pace 3 times, once at the start of the challenge, at the midpoint and the end, and followed a very strict protocol. It looked a lot like Brian Johnson's, but much cheaper, and adjusted to my lifestyle, of course, and needs. And yeah, as you mentioned, my duodenum pace went up and significantly.
How long was this protocol? How long did you do it?
10 months. So I started in November or October 2023, and it went until August in 2024. And that was, I had a budget of $10,000, and I wanted to do that for or see how long I can make this budget last to live as healthy as possible. And I mean, I did all the things that you would think would make you age slower. Yeah, so have a good morning routine, have good sleep, and my sleep actually improved over the period. Get my blood measured, do everything I could to enhance my markers. Have a fitness routine of 5 times a week to sometimes even 6. In the beginning was 6 times a week, and then I decreased it to 5 times. I did yoga and meditation every morning. I ate vegan only for the first half of the challenge, and then I included on some protein again. But overall, very healthy lifestyle, at least on paper. The pace of aging didn't show that result yet, unfortunately. In the beginning, I had a pace of aging of 0.72, and then at the midpoint, it already went up to 0.7 to 0.9. Yeah, 0.9, that was it. And I was shocked. I didn't expect that result. And in the end, I did a pretty deep dive, and I think what I or could lead it down to, and that's also a thing, I mean, that I don't like so much about the duodenum pace, because it gives you only the sum of its parts, so to say. There is no clear indication what epigenetic markers have caused you to actually age faster. And so you need to do a lot of the homework to actually combine it with your blood test results, other results, your general well-being and feeling, mental stress, and so on. And then paint your own story from it. And that's incredibly difficult, especially if you don't have an endless amount of time. Yeah, in sum, I led it back to a couple of things. The first one being, I told you I included protein, animal protein from the midpoint on, and I especially ate a lot of salmon, like twice a week, and that led to already what's it called? Mercury poisoning.
Mercury.
Yeah. And then I ate a lot of greasy chicken, or at least chicken with the greasy parts. So we try to always use a whole chicken, and it has greasy parts, of course, and then cut it up, prepare it ourselves. And that had my cholesterol or ApoB markers go up. And I also got a omega-3 to omega-6 imbalance, which in itself also kind of tipped the scale.
Or imbalance in what way? Like too much omega-6?
Yes, exactly. So when you have too much omega-6, the way I understand it is that apparently omega-6, if you have too much of it, it blocks the benefits from the omega-3. And it doesn't really matter.
How is that even possible when you were eating salmon? You just added the salmon there.
That's a very good question. And I think this comes from both the fats in the chicken and in the salmon itself. And so the advice would be to rely much more on linseed oils, on chia seed oil, and try to reduce anything that has a high content of omega-6 fatty acids, so to say. Overall, this story was a big shock to me, and I really went deep, and the data that I just shared, it only can explain it so much. It was quite a big jump. My doctor said, yeah, still a good result because it's under 1, but for me, starting out at 0.72, I wanted it, of course, to be better. And that might have been my detriment at one point as well, because I started out pretty good already. So it's hard to overachieve that, or undercut it, better said. But you need to look for what else can affect this result as well. And what I concluded is that it's most likely also a lot of stress that I'd faced in that time period. From several fronts, right? I wanted to be better than my first and midterm result, obviously, which already was worse than the first result. So I was super strict on the protocol. That caused some stress, I guess. Then my wedding, I had my weddings the day after I tested my last duodenal pace, and we had to prepare that and get all the friends and family together. Then not only my challenge budget was running tight, but also my personal budget that I set for the last couple of years. I now just started a new job, and so that might have all caused, an increased amount of stress, and in the end, I guess also influence such a result. So to get back to your point, this guy you just told me about, how long was his experiment for?
It's 2 months.
2 months. He might have just had a very unstressful 2 months of pleasure, and that might have made him younger in a sense. And I have an anecdote here. 2 things. So when I did my very first pace of aging test, and I haven't shared this online yet, the week before, I went to an annual gathering of friends where we throw a party, we rent a house, and it's like an all-weekend party with great music, great French, great conversations. We definitely don't live healthy, and it's like a weekend out and a good time out. But I slept like a baby, first of all, afterwards, when I got back, of course not during the party weekend, and did the first pace of aging test on the Thursday afterwards. So 4 days later. And that was the best result I got. I'm not saying that has caused it, but I guess it definitely had a influence on my mental well-being and stress level. And to get back to that point and provide some more data to that point, and we need to be careful here. This is all observational data. I don't have any clear relation to that. When I really engage in a week of enjoyment and go out, maybe stay up late, don't abide by my protocol, I engage in some controlled madness. Then get back. Obviously, I don't sleep that good on that day, and the data doesn't show it. But the day afterwards, my HRV always goes through the roof. I'm usually around 30, 40, something like that on a good day, but then it's likely to be like 100. My resting heart rate drops. I sleep like a baby, and then 2 days after the controlled madness, I feel amazing, and my data shows it as well. And I think, there's a big danger to over perfect on executing your healthy lifestyle and missing out on actually enjoying what makes life great in a sense.